What got me interested in cover crops originally was just, it seemed like the lowest cost, easiest to implement way to improve and build soil health. My name's Scott Chichester, and I'm the owner of Chi's Farm in Sequim, Washington here. And we grow a diversity of organic vegetables on the farm and sell them locally through our farm stand and a CSA and to a few restaurants and natural food store in the area. Cover crops are a crop that I plant when I'm not growing a cash crop in order to grow a lot of organic matter in place and get a lot of carbon turned back into the soil. In this particular field, it's the sandiest site that we have, and so the real noticeable benefit that I've seen is just an increase in organic matter in the soil in a pretty short amount of time. The original soil test came back pretty deficient in a lot of nutrients and fairly low organic matter. Even just the first season doing this tall cover crop flail and incorporation, when we were pulling carrots out of that patch in the late winter, February, early March, we could still find some of that organic matter residue, and you could see the organisms entwined with that cover crop residue, breaking it down. And we had a fantastic crop of carrots that year. And we've continued to see the soil seem like it just aggregates really well despite its sandy nature, getting all the cover crops in here. The biggest challenge with this mowing a tall cover crop that I've found is the nutrient tie-up initially is a very real risk because you are putting a huge amount of carbon into the soil, and so you're going to tie up nitrogen pretty significantly for a few weeks anyway. So I try and start this process about a month before I'm going to be seeding into it or planting into it. I definitely did early on have instances where I didn't give it enough time and transplanted plants in, and then sadly realized, oh, they are not growing very well. I needed to give them a little bit more time. And after they sat there for a couple of weeks and things were digested in the soil, they eventually took off and did really well, but it was very apparent that nutrient tie-up. When I see plants that look really healthy, when I've boosted organic matter with a good cover crop, those crops tend to yield really well. So there's the business excitement that comes from it, just in that our yields are better, so our net return ends up better. But the thing that also plays into that is these healthy plants just taste better. And it's not something that you can quantify necessarily, but our customers give us a lot of feedback about how they appreciate the quality of the food that we grow, and I'm just a firm believer after all these years that if you can start with a really healthy soil, the rest of it gets a lot easier and it's a lot tastier. And it's not just us farmers that think that we're growing something that tastes better because we grow it. We're getting that feedback from a lot of the people that are eating the food as well. And that just brings me a lot of joy to know that I'm feeding the community with vegetables that taste good and are as healthy as we can grow them. If other farmers ask me about how or if they should use cover crops, I'm a huge advocate for it. I think that almost every system has a place that you can utilize them. I've seen folks with the little walk-behind tractors like a BCS that have got little flail mowers on that kind of scale, sub 1 acre, and they're able to successfully mow down and incorporate cover crops in that sort of a system, and then real big growers can come up with equipment that they need, and it exists on that scale as well. So really, I think everybody has a place that they can fit it in. If they kind of look around, they can find slots that it'll work. I think that the benefit outweighs the expense of time and money. When I see how good the soils look after having had a cover crop all winter versus if we, for some reason, can't get a spot cover cropped and then have to go in there in the spring, the soils just aren't as nice when we go to work them. And so it becomes pretty apparent that it's a real integral part of what we're doing. And I've just accepted that we have to make that time. And if there's an expense of buying seed and extra fuel and labor to get it established, it's worth it.